Hello, this is Dr. Cunningham with another life lessons discussion focusing on grief. I'm specifically going to focus on my grandfather today, one of my two grandfathers actually that passed away within the last 3 to 4 years, one in 2018 and then another in 2021. And so I would like to be able to share one of them specifically because it's going to be a culmination of information. First, I'd like to address that there was one of my grandfathers who passed away after some years of battling with dementia. Why do I even mention that? That's a particular disease that is considered chronic because it's ongoing and particular symptoms can exacerbate as time goes along. And so to lose the ability to be able to speak eventually or different faculties, things of that nature, not necessarily focusing on the particular details of the diagnosis, but rather when a loved one has a particular diagnosis and a prognosis regarding life, it can lead to beginning the grieving process at that particular point in time. So I saw my grandfather deteriorate over time. And so there was a part of me that was already preparing for his departure, his spirit leaving and his soul leaving the body. So because of that, it is very real to grieve before someone actually dies. And I want to make sure I make that clear because a lot of times people think like, what in the world is wrong with me? They're still here. However, because of being aware of the prognosis and the diagnosis, you may already be thinking about what is life going to be like without them. Thinking about how am I going to adapt, missing them already. It's very relevant not only with regards to the actual loss of a loved one through death, but then moving or divorce. There are couples I work with that sometimes have been thinking about if they were going to divorce for a number of years. And so there's a part of them that was focusing on what life would be like if the person wasn't there any longer, or if someone is going to be moving across the country or to another country. So it is very possible to deal with what is called pre-loss grief. And it's a very real and normal part of the process of losing a loved one, or the thought of losing a loved one, or a prolonged period before the actual loss occurs. Now, it still doesn't mean that one doesn't deal with grief when the person actually passes on, because they do. That is also still very normal. At the same time, it's very clear that grief can begin before the person ever passes away. Because you could continue to miss the person, but then the reality of it setting in as far as them not being there and literally having to go through the process of living without the person occurs. And so the grief continues from that particular point. Now, I also want to be able to share that with regards to grief, how the person's life is celebrated or the funeral can be a part of the healing process. Why do I say that? Because, for example, in my experience, growing up in a Christian household, as well as being Christian as an adult, we celebrate the life of the person. So that actually helped me, not only through dancing, through song, being able to be an active part of the celebration of life. My sisters and I sing. We sang at both of my grandfather's funerals. And so it's a way to be able to frame the person's life in a positive way, and also to have an opportunity to publicly share what you wanted to say to that person, how you feel about that person, what that person meant to you. Because sometimes there's not only the process of feeling sad or the denial of the loss of the loved one, but then there's also bargaining, which has to do with why, are they gone so soon? Or maybe I didn't get a chance to say what I wanted to say to them. So it's an opportunity to be able to express how you feel about them and to be able to express it in a community, which is quite powerful because it's a matter of being able to lean on each other in order to heal. And again, it's still the beginning of the process, because after the funeral and after all the flowers and the dinners that people bring over end, you're still sitting with the empty chair, or the bed that's no longer being slept in, or those Sunday dinners where that chair is empty again because of the fact that, they're not there to meet with the family. At the same time, it's a way to be able to have particular memories associated with the loss of the loved one that are connected to joy, celebration, remembering in a positive sense. Ultimately, my hope is that this information is helpful to you. At the same time, to recognize that grieving is very normal. There is nothing wrong with you. And if you need days to be able to grieve, it's okay. My rule is give yourself 3 days. After that, get up and keep moving. Make sure that you're doing something in your life that you enjoy, or that brings purpose to your life, and that could even shift or change depending on what that person meant to you. And also a consideration of maybe how you can also incorporate what their purposes or causes were, and how that can be integrated into your life to bring even greater purpose, with consideration of legacy, or how you can contribute more to the world. And so there's a way to be able to deal with loss, not only looking at it from the perspective of the rearview mirror, but also still being in the driver's seat looking forward, while also carrying that person with you moving forward in spirit. And so I definitely hope that your life is still filled with purpose, with passion, with enjoyment. And I'm sure that the person that passed away, who loved you dearly and you loved them dearly, also wants the same for you. And so I hope you all have a great one.